Well, the first day of introduction, we signed up 7 Republicans. So usually you don't get a first introduction and get so many people on board. But I think it shows the anxiety that people have. I'm sure if they listen to their constituents, consumer challenges are already starting to surface. And certainly the stock market's impact on retirement income is shaking a lot of people. So I'm sure my colleagues will hear from them. Today, consumer groups are announcing, and retailers, the fact that they want Congress to take this action up. And so I think we're hearing from a big segment of the economy. The consumer spending is a big part of GDP, and they're worried.
So you've got, what, 6 Republicans at this point?
7.
7. Mm-hmm. And now you're saying retailers, like you have CEOs who are on board, or industry groups?
Industry groups like the Retailers Association, the outdoor industry, the consumer electronics groups, Main Street Alliance, organizations who know their bread and butter comes from consumer spending, which is a big part of our economy. And so they are very anxious about a plan. Listen, I listened to your segment. I've never heard so much about fuzzy math in my life. And the notion that that chart is getting so much national attention, you know, the letters in Greek alphabet, all this stuff that makes no sense. That's what consumers are saying. How is this helping me in a time of inflation? You're adding to my cost with a tax on my consumer goods. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why we're gaining support from these organizations today.
So Canada and China are among your state's largest export markets. Both have already announced retaliatory tariffs. I know you've said previously that the first Trump administration and the more limited tariffs still to this day have an impact on your state. So how much wiggle room do we have with time here? Because you heard the Commerce Secretary say that basically these aren't a negotiating ploy, that they are staying in place. That's what he says.
Well,
so how long before damage?
Well, we have seen damage from the first Trump tariffs on things like apples, and markets closed. And what you do is you end up then losing farm family economies. You don't necessarily lose farmland. Some big corporation might buy it, but you lose family farms. So our objective should be to help farmers open up doors to these overseas markets. The United States' goal here should be to make great manufactured products and grow great agricultural products, and then get those markets opened up. But what the president is doing is, instead of building those alliances, he basically is getting into a trade war that is having unbelievable impact. When his last tariffs on India, we reopened with the Apple market, and we went to India and said, let's get rid of this, and we were successful. And that's the kind of action we want to see today.